Welcome to Sports Talk Live on Orange Sheet. I'm Giovanni Heater, as always, and thanks so much for tuning in. Now, we have a few things to announce real quick before we dive into sports talk for today, but happy Football Friday. As you can see, typically we go with a button-up shirt and the nice dress clothes, but today I thought, hey, football dress down Friday doesn't get any better than the conference championships coming up this weekend. But first, go ahead and know that you can click the link in the description down below and call in at any time. I'll pop you in the conference and we'll talk about sports, whatever's going on in the conversation here. We'll dive into it and we'll chat it up. I'd love to get your guys' thoughts, opinions, comments, and it'd be really cool to go ahead and dive deep into sports with you. And then second of all, go ahead over to accessoryspot.com. That's accessoryspot.com and pick up your very own Orange Heat with Giovanni Heater t-shirt. That's accessoryspot.com, accessoryspot.com. Now, a crazy day in sports a little bit here. You know, everyone goes into it. The main focus is going to be previewing the conference championships. Will Patrick Mahomes play? Will he not play? Everyone expected him to. The first bit of good news is he is playing. He will be playing on Sunday. Now, the question is, how much will that foot injury or turf toe that they are speculating, obviously the Kansas City Chiefs aren't going to release that, how much will that come into play in this matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs for the AFC Championship? You know, I don't know. Because did he hobble around for sure during that game against the Cleveland Browns in the divisional round? Absolutely. It definitely affected him. And he was very mobile last year as a quarterback in the playoffs, especially to get them all the way to the Super Bowl. Has done it this year. They only have played one game so far. People forget that. You know, you get that first round bye. They've only had to play the Browns. That's it. And the Bills have an extra game on them as far as that goes. Whether that can be an advantage or a disadvantage is really a topic for another day. But the fact of the matter is Patrick Mahomes has cleared all 5 steps of concussion protocol, and he will be playing on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. And I'm interested to see how much the foot will play in. Head coach Andy Reid said that he thinks he's going to be good to go. He should be good. But Mahomes did go into the injury tent twice to be treated for that foot injury, as they will call it, in that game against the Cleveland Browns, and it seemed to affect him then. We'll see if it affects him at all against Buffalo. A huge headline came out today, breaking news, very sad. Hank Aaron, legendary baseball player, passes away today, this morning at the age of 86. He was the all-time leader in RBIs and total bases. He was the home run king in Major League Baseball for 33 years, which is a really long time to hold that title. 25 All-Star Game appearances that he played in, and he was unprecedented and really underappreciated, I believe Hank Aaron was. 755 home runs throughout his career, but people don't realize, and at the time, he wasn't really appreciated for that and given the credit he deserved because he never had more than 50 home runs in a single season. In fact, never reached 50, which is kind of that threshold they say you have to meet to be one of the greats. But he was the home run king for 33 years, 755 career dingers over a fence playing Major League Baseball, plain and simple. On April 8th, 1974, Hank Aaron hits his 715th career home run, and that was to surpass the legendary Babe Ruth as all-time home run king in baseball. Babe Ruth did it, held that for a very, very long time, and in 1974, on April 8th, Hank Aaron broke that record, hitting his 715th career home run. Since then, some would say he's fraudulently had that title taken away from him when Barry Bonds broke that record. And the best thing that people have said about Hank Aaron was the fact that he was able to handle such an event with grace. Someone goes and breaks your home run record and then fraudulently, does it at that. They find out years later he was on performance-enhancing drugs, PEDs, and Hank Aaron handled the entire situation with grace. He's faced a lot. He's been at the forefront of the African-American community, especially at that time where it wasn't as prominent in sports and accepted. Had to face the challenge of moving from Milwaukee, where the Braves once were, and then going down to Atlanta, which is what they called the New South. It was an incredible time in history, and he faced a lot of not only controversy but difficulties. And Hank Aaron, one of the best to ever swing a baseball bat, no doubt about it. Also an announcement. On Saturday at 10 p.m. on ESPN Plus at Fight Island, a big UFC matchup. Conor McGregor is going to go up against Poirier. It's a rematch from 2014. McGregor, in this situation, has the opportunity to really revive his UFC career a little bit here. Winner gets a title shot following that. McGregor won by knockout the first time these two went at it in 2014 and just dominated the fight at that point. Early on in the fight, wins by knockout over Poirier. And then both coming in with wins. So McGregor last fought in January, Poirier back in June. So Poirier has had the experience at Fight Island with no crowd. McGregor, not yet. Just an interesting fight. Both of these guys standing at the same height. The same, obviously same weight class, but to be 32 years old, the same exact height, it's as even playing field as you can possibly get in fighting. And fighting's not my expertise, and I was really hoping to get my man Kyle Marshak in here for that, but unfortunately he's at work today. We'll see him tomorrow calling the Syracuse and Virginia Tech game because fighting is his MO. Nonetheless, this is a big matchup. You can watch it on ESPN Plus Saturday at 10 p.m. to get you ready for the good football coming up on Sunday. We got our first caller in here, and we'll add them to the stream and see what it's all about. Name's John, and we'll see. How's it going, John? How are you? You there? I don't know what that was all about, but hopefully that wasn't somebody trying to be rude, because that I don't appreciate that. I put a lot of hard work into this. That was kind of my fear with the call-ins, and if that continues, we'll just have to stop the call-ins. And it's unfortunate because there's a lot of people out there that I enjoy talking sports with. So again, I'd appreciate it if it was kept respectful. Again, I put a ton of work into this to make this happen. I love doing it. It's my passion, but if it's going to get like that, we just won't do that. So I apologize for that. And maybe it wasn't, but it definitely seemed to be like that. That's what was going on there. We got another guest coming in, and we'll let him in. It's Landon Cook. Landon, how you doing, man?
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Oh, you got the studio set up. I like it.
Yeah, I just finished it all.
Good stuff, man. Great. What'd you call in to talk about?
Bills, obviously.
All right. Fair enough. Let's do it. What are your thoughts on this weekend? We got Kansas City coming up. By far the toughest game of the season. I see we're both repping our Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen over here. Who are you wearing over there? Is that Tyrod?
I got Tyrod Taylor right here.
Okay. All right.
My Allen jersey's in the washer ready for this weekend.
All right. You got to keep it fresh. Got to keep it ready for this weekend.
Definitely. What are you thinking about the concussion protocol for Mahomes? I saw he just got released.
Well, I saw that Mahomes definitely is A-okay to play on Sunday. Yeah. And I think it's great. I think it's good for football. I mean, if you're Buffalo, to be the best, you want to beat the best. Would it have been a massive advantage for Mahomes not to play? Sure. But it's a situation where this is a historic weekend in the National Football League. It's two of the young generation quarterbacks going at it, and two of the all-time greats, future Hall of Famers going at it. And it's not like that every year. It's really not. When we look back, I mean, the last couple of years, Jared Goff's in the Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo played in it last year. And it's like, those guys are great. But these are two of the best of the new generation and two of the best of the old generation. And no matter what happens, you're getting a fantastic matchup with a fantastic story. It's either Buffalo's going on to play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that story between the 20 years of Tom Brady reigning terror on the Bills and Bills Mafia and the young buck Josh Allen having an opportunity, or if it's Kansas City against Tom Brady, Mahomes, who's called to be the next greatest of all time ahead of Tom Brady. He has an opportunity to surpass him, or Brady gets his 7th, And then if you look at Rodgers, I mean, it's no matter what you get, it's a fantastic story.
Yeah, of course. And when you take a look at it, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, it was all a controversial debate before the season. Is it Tom Brady or Bill Belichick? And so far, it's been proven to be Tom Brady. And we're both Bills fans. We know we're not the biggest Brady or Belichick fans, but I have respect for Brady. He's respectably the greatest quarterback to ever do it. And if he were to win the Super Bowl this year, it would be a great accomplishment. And if he were to go out, that would be the way to go out.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. The thing with Brady, I don't think he's done after this year. I think he's still got more oomph in him. I've read a lot of articles and stuff. Some of the closest media people that he keeps tight to him, he has no plans of being done after this season. He wants to play for another 5 years, and it's crazy. 43-year-old quarterback, but he's still slinging it, and he has this franchise. I think he'll at least play out his contract, which goes through next season, I guess is what I'm getting at. And the question mark falls after that, but I don't think he's done after this year. Rodgers, on the other hand, will he be done in Green Bay is the question, because he's playing the best football of his career. This is arguably his best season so far, but they recruited his predecessor, and he took that. It's like that Michael Jordan meme where he's like, and I took that personally,
Yeah.
And so I think that's fueled his fire this year. He said a quote yesterday that said his future is a beautiful mystery, and who knows where his future is. It might not be with the Packers next year.
It may not, but if he were to, I feel like he'd be with the Packers next year almost 100%. He's been playing his best football. He's got Devontae Adams, his main man. I feel like everything's in order for Green Bay, and I'm pretty sure that Rodgers has an idea that he will be hanging around in Green Bay. But you do have a great point if he asks for like Brady with the Patriots,
For sure. So before I let you go, and I get to the rest of this stuff, Landon, I just want to ask you this. So I'm assuming you're going to pick the Bills, but I could be wrong. Give me your picks for this weekend, and then give me your picks. Who's your Super Bowl champ this year?
All right. So the Bills are now, with Mahomes playing, they're favored the Chiefs by 4. So I'm not going to give you a winner because I guarantee it's going to be down to the last possession. And I know that the Buffalo Bills are going to cover the spread. And it's either going to be a 3-point game or nothing, because the Buffalo Bills are either going to win by 3 or they're going to lose by 3. I guarantee you it's going to come down to the last 30 seconds, because Mahomes' specialty is always, and it always has been, hanging around in close games and having one last chance at it. And same thing with Allen. He's had tons of game-winning drives this year, one of which didn't work out against the Cardinals, one against the Rams. Our defense came up big against the Patriots. So I'm not too sure what's going to happen. But if I were to give you a Super Bowl champion for this year, it's either going to be, I believe it's going to be the Buffalo Bills or the Green Bay Packers. And Aaron Rodgers, I feel as if, is going to overpower Tom Brady, because it could very well be his last year, unlike Tom Brady. So it's going to be a great AFC and NFC championship. I can't wait to watch on my couch all Sunday.
Absolutely, man. Well, thanks so much for calling in. We got another caller just lined up here, but I appreciate you calling in. You got some good picks. Enjoy the football this weekend.
Definitely. See ya.
Nice to see you. All right, now we have Justin calling in. Justin, how are you? All right, Justin booted back out. That's okay. Feel free again to click the link in the description down below if you're on Facebook Live or YouTube Live, and give a call in. But that's okay, because I have plenty to unpack here. I got sheets and sheets of notes here ready to talk about here for what's to be expected in the future of the National Football League. We got Justin back. We'll give him another quick second here.
Hi.
Justin, how are you?
Great.
Nice to have you on, buddy. So what are you thinking about this weekend? You got the Buffalo Bills and the Chiefs, and then you got Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady going at it at Lambeau Field. Who would be your picks this weekend, and who's going to the Super Bowl?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. And then who you got between the Bills and the Chiefs?
I do not remember.
No? All right. Well, I appreciate you calling in, Justin. Enjoy the football this weekend, all right, man?
All right. Thank you.
Yes. All right, that's Justin right there. So again, go ahead, click the link in the description down below, and you can go ahead and call in. So that's cool to have two callers so far today. Now let's dive back into what I was talking about. We just finished off talking about ESPN Plus at Fight Island, Saturday, 10 p.m., Conor McGregor versus Poirier, and it's going to be a rematch from 2014 where McGregor won it in a knockout, both of them coming off of wins. McGregor last fought in January, the other in June. So an interesting matchup here at Fight Island. McGregor a chance to revive his career. Winner gets a title shot. That should be a good one on Saturday night. Now I want to talk about what I promised all week, and that's my top 5 destination landing spots for none other than Houston Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson. And I want to start off by saying Watson will be a future MVP and a Super Bowl champion if he goes to the right place. Deshaun Watson led the NFL this year with over 2,800 passing yards. And he's not even in the MVP conversation. Yes, they didn't win a lot of games, but he led the NFL in passing yards. He is without a doubt one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League for the foreseeable future. I'd say the top 3 going forward in the young generation are Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, and Josh Allen. And I wouldn't have said Allen before this year. I wouldn't have. I would have said Mahomes and Watson without a doubt. These guys are studs. Deshaun Watson is a fantastic football player, and more than anything, he knows what it takes to win. The guy won a national championship under Dabo Swinney at Clemson. He knows what it takes to be a winner, and that's one of the biggest reasons he wants out of Houston. It's a corrupt organization. They can't win football games, and they're not treating their players fairly. He wants out, plain and simple, and he deserves to go somewhere else. So I promised it early on what would be my top 5 destination spots for Deshaun Watson. And this took some time. I really thought it would be easier than it was, sitting down, and there's so many good spots he could go, but it comes down to more than, it's just a good spot. It comes down to what the other team has to offer, what Houston needs, who has the best mix to win football games, who Deshaun Watson likes, and where he can go. So nonetheless, let's dive into the list and start out at number 5. Number 5 on the landing spots for Deshaun Watson, and call me crazy, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Urban Meyer, brand new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the reason I say this, the only reason I say this, besides the fact that Urban Meyer wants to find somebody to build this program around, not a better coach out there as far as the college game goes, won 2 national championships at 2 different schools, great coach, great. We haven't seen him in the NFL, but a situation that could be a good spot for Deshaun Watson. And they have the number 1 pick in the draft. So in this situation, you would trade the number 1 pick, essentially trading Trevor Lawrence for Deshaun Watson. Trevor Lawrence would go to Houston. It would be unfortunate for Trevor Lawrence to go to Houston for his sake. But if I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars, who would you rather build around? Deshaun Watson's already shown you that he's an MVP caliber quarterback. There's no question in my mind about that. Trevor Lawrence hasn't yet. It's all speculation. And to be quite honest, unpopular opinion and an extreme hot take, I think he's overrated. I don't think he's the best NFL quarterback prospect, since the last time. You know what I mean? I don't think that if he doesn't go to the right spot, he won't, he has the potential to be a bust, just like everyone does. It all depends on where you go more than anything. And that's why he didn't want to go to the New York Jets, rot in that situation with Adam Gase. Well, that's not the case in New York anymore. Now Jacksonville has that first pick. And at number 5, destination spots for Deshaun Watson, I have the Jaguars trading the number 1 pick and getting Deshaun Watson, acquiring Deshaun Watson and building their program around him. Again, that's why it's number 5. It's a long shot, without a doubt. It's at number 5. Number 4. And this one was tough as well. And I actually went back and forth between a couple of different teams. And the different team that I picked is now not in this situation at all. It's an honorable mention, which I'll talk about at the end. But at number 4, I have the Indianapolis Colts. And it makes a lot of sense. It really does. They have all of the pieces in that franchise right now to be a good team. They did it with Phillip Rivers. They went to the playoffs and they were really, really good, and they gave Buffalo a fight right to the wire, and who knows if they won that game, how deep they could have gone. They could be playing this weekend. They could have beat Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, and they could be playing this weekend. Great young wide receiving core led by a rookie this year, Michael Pittman Jr., who was fantastic, especially down the later stretch of the season. A fantastic running back room with a young Jonathan Taylor leading the way, and then Naheem Hines behind him, who's also developed into a pretty decent running back. A fantastic defense with Leonard at linebacker, and then you have DeForest Buckner on the defensive line. Those are just small pieces of a very large, good defense, a good tight end core, a good offensive line. They protected Phillip Rivers all year. They had a lot of success this year. They even beat the Green Bay Packers throughout the regular season. And then above it all, you have Frank Reich as your head coach, and he is a fantastic quarterback coach. He is known for developing quarterbacks. That's his MO. That's what he's best at doing. And it's just a good spot for Deshaun Watson to go. Now, they don't have all of this draft capital to give away. So your question would be, and that's why it's at number 4, what do they have to give in order to acquire Deshaun? Because Houston's going to request the world. They have the number 21 pick in the draft. That's not going to cut it for Deshaun Watson. It has to be top 3 to get Deshaun Watson. And you have to have a couple throughout the rest of it as well. They have the number 21 pick. That's not going to do it. You have to give something up for Deshaun Watson. And the biggest problem above anything else with the Indianapolis Colts acquiring him is they're in the same division as the Houston Texans. And that's a big, big deal. Because if you're the Houston Texans, the absolute last place you're going to send your franchise quarterback, who's a future MVP and a future Super Bowl winner, is a divisional team. It's just not going to happen. The ideal situation is for the Houston Texans, for their franchise and their organization, is to send him to the NFC. Don't even send him anywhere in the AFC, because the odds are you could stack up and have to play against him. So for them to send him to Indy is a real long shot, considering they're both in the same division and they're playing 2 times a year against each other. So that's the one thing with Indy. Otherwise, they'd probably be at number 1 for me, is the fact that if Indianapolis is an NFC team, they're number 1 on the list, 100% for me. But the fact that they're in the same division as the Houston Texans is just, it's not good for Houston. And I can't see them making that mistake. That's what it would be. It would be a mistake. And it's already a mistake at this point. Should have never gotten to this. Number 3 on my list is the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins have 2 first-round picks, number 3 and number 8, which is incredible considering that they could have gotten into the playoffs this year. All they needed was either Baltimore, Cleveland, or Indianapolis to lose Week 17, or they just had to beat Buffalo Week 17. Now, none of that ended up happening. Understandable. But the Miami Dolphins could have been a history-making team, being a team to make the playoffs and have the number 3 pick in the draft, unheard of. And that's obviously all in trades is what that is. But they have the number 3 pick in the draft. They also have the number 18 pick, which as far as all the teams that I'll get into that have another first round pick, it's the highest. It's in the top 20. The other ones aren't. So to have the number 3 pick and the number 18 pick, that's a given. You're giving that away. And then I think as an add-on, you're giving away Tua. Obviously, if you're picking a franchise quarterback, you're not going to keep Tua Tagovailoa. So then you give away Tua or Ryan Fitzpatrick or both of them. Possibility. Fitzpatrick has the capability to play somewhere else. That's why I don't know if he's going to back up Deshaun Watson. Nobody needs to back up Deshaun Watson the way Tua needed to be backed up. No one's going to save the day for Deshaun Watson. It's not going to happen. He's that good. And he's not Tua Tagovailoa. The problem with the Miami Dolphins is the fact that Deshaun Watson morally is a great guy. And he cares about players' careers and the league and doesn't like the Houston organization, understands the corruptness within it, exposing the corruptness within it. So for him to send a young quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa to basically rot with the Houston Texans that's where I don't rank them higher than number 3. Otherwise, they could be 2 or 1. But I don't know if Deshaun Watson morally would do that. But he really likes the Miami Dolphins. Warm weather. You can't get better weather to play football in, plain and simple. And that plays a difference. It really does. They also are taking a look at Clemson offensive coordinator Tony Elliott as a possible offensive coordinator hire. That's mind-blowing considering nobody knows him better in college besides maybe his head coach than Tony Elliott. Tony Elliott already has a found relationship with Deshaun Watson from Watson's college days. Elliott played a ton of different roles for the Clemson Tigers between 2011 and now on his journey to becoming offensive coordinator. But they were together that whole time. That could play a huge factor in Deshaun's decision if they were to make that hire. Watson also likes Brian Flores, and what Brian Flores is building in Miami is something great. And if you acquire Deshaun Watson, you just made Buffalo's road to an NFC or AFC East championship that much harder. 100% that much harder if you do something like that. Deshaun Watson's a game changer for any team. Whatever team he comes to, he's going to make them a playoff contender just like that. They also have Devontae Parker. You need a guy to throw the ball to. Now, they have problems in the wide receiver room. They need to get more. They need to acquire more. Offensive line needs work. But the defense is really, really good and can keep you in games. And if Deshaun Watson can do enough and have a wide receiver like Devontae Parker to throw the ball to, it's a dangerous team. And as a Bills fan, if I'm Buffalo, I don't want to play the Miami Dolphins twice a year like you're going to have to. I think you're guaranteed to lose one of those, no matter who you are. The Dolphins with Deshaun Watson would be a very good franchise. So I have them at number 3 in this listing. Number 2, the New York Jets. The New York Jets have 2 first-round picks, just like Miami does. Number 2 and number 23. Number 23 they acquired in the trade for Jamal Adams with the Seattle Seahawks earlier this year. And it doesn't get any better than that, but that's just a surface. That's a given. You're giving that away. They also have 2 third-round picks, which they would probably have to give away. If I'm Houston, I'm demanding it all. So they would probably have to give away 4 total picks, at least 3, and that's a given. And most likely you'd throw Sam Darnold in the situation as the trade as a throw-in, right? You literally they call it a throw-in. There isn't a team better equipped to make a run at Deshaun Watson in an offer than the New York Jets. Because of what they can offer the Houston Texans, there's not a team in the NFL better equipped to make a run at acquiring Deshaun Watson in a trade. And I think the Jets, yes, it's a lot to give up. There's no doubt about it. And there's a lot of Jets people out there who would say we don't need Watson because you'd give up so much for him. Salary cap, picks, all of it. But if you can go get him a guy like Allen Robinson, who he likes a lot from the Chicago Bears, Allen Robinson's about to be a free agent. So if you can go pick him up, a guy like that, and Give him somebody to throw the ball to. I mean, the New York Jets need a lot of work, but there's promises defensively, like Quinnen Williams on the defensive line, a young guy. Like, there's potential here. And they just hired a great head coach, the best head coach hire out of this entire year, which we're going to get into the head coach hires in just a little bit. And it's been ugly. But Robert Saleh is a great hire for the New York Jets. And Deshaun Watson told the Houston Texans organization that he wanted them to interview and really think into hiring Robert Saleh as the next head coach of the Houston Texans to fill their head coaching vacancy. He likes Robert Saleh 100%. Robert Saleh brings a great culture. He's a defensive-minded coach without a doubt, but there's just a lot of potential in the situation. Houston would get Darnold. So in that situation, Deshaun's not sending a young quarterback in a bad situation. You know, it's almost like in that situation, you'd think that the chance was already given to Darnold, had years with the Jets. Not the same can be said for Trevor Lawrence or Tua Tagovailoa, right? These are just rookies and sophomores in the league at this point. And especially with the Jets, you know, if you can get him some bodies up front and get him some receivers, it's a quick turnaround. It really is. They can find success like that. And whether you're in Miami or New York, you can make a run at the Buffalo Bills for the AFC East. And don't count out the Patriots just yet. One-off year, if they get the right quarterback, if they draft Mac Jones, forget about it. I'm not going to lose faith in Bill. But the AFC East has the potential to get a lot more difficult for any team and a lot more prominent in the landscape of the AFC besides just the Patriots coming out of it every year if Deshaun Watson goes to either the Jets or the Dolphins. And no team is better equipped than the New York Jets. I think it'd be a great landing spot for him. And initially I had him at number 1. And then I turned on my decision about 5 minutes before I came on the air. And here's why. My number 1 pick for this situation, the number 1 destination spot for Deshaun Watson to go, is the San Francisco 49ers. There's no bigger draw for a star quarterback to want to play football, who wants to win more than going to play for Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan is turning into the next Bill Belichick, and I mean that with sincerity. Though he's young, look at the system that he was responsible for producing. In his system, he has produced Arthur Smith, who is now the new head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, Matt LaFleur, who's with the Green Bay Packers, and Sean McVay, who went to a Super Bowl and is this offensive genius for the Los Angeles Rams. No better coach to go play for right now than Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers. A young guy that you can jive with, that has created a lot, that has gone to a Super Bowl last year. And not a single coach on this list can say that, besides Saleh, who was on the same staff as Shanahan with the San Francisco 49ers and built a great defense in San Francisco and had a ton of success when his stars were injured. Besides that, it's a stable winning culture. They went to the Super Bowl. They fought all year, no matter the cards stacked against them. Garoppolo's out. Kittle's out. Bosa's out. I mean, this is a depleted football team. And they still fought and continued to win some games. It's a winning culture. It's a place to be in San Francisco. Another interesting point is that a personal executive spearheading the drafting of Jimmy Garoppolo in New England years ago is now a head man for the Houston Texans. And they have a relationship. So what better quarterback to send to Houston, who I think can be successful anywhere, is Jimmy Garoppolo. Do I think he's a star quarterback in the league? I don't. Do I think he can be successful? Yes. And they already have a relationship? A head guy that was responsible for drafting Jimmy Garoppolo to New England when they already had Tom Brady. out of Eastern Illinois, who, by the way, Syracuse head coach Dino Babers coached him at Eastern Illinois as his head coach. Just putting it out there. There's no better spot. There's no better trade-off as far as him not putting a young quarterback in a bad situation. Garoppolo's had a bit of a career, went to a Super Bowl, and he already has a relationship. I don't think he would be distraught to go play for the Houston Texans. And that's just an interesting point not many people take a look at in this situation. The problem with the San Francisco 49ers is they have no draft capital. They have the 12th pick. That's not enough. You have to give something else up. And I beg the question, what will it be? What will it be? You have the 12th pick. It's not terrible. It's not top 3 like I said it had to be, or at least top 5. It's not. They could draft a great player with the 12th pick. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be a lot of talent left. They could draft a quarterback with the 12th pick, a guy like Mac Jones at that point, who's a Heisman contender and could have potential to be an NFL quarterback without a doubt. They could draft BYU quarterback at that point. Smith, he could fall that low. It depends. It depends. You're going to need to give more than the 12th pick, and that's why I had him at number 2 initially. But look at the weapons that they have on the San Francisco 49ers to throw the ball to. You have George Kittle, arguably the best tight end in the NFL. I'd say Kelsey's better. I would. But probably the second best tight end in the NFL in George Kittle, a monster to throw the football to. You have a young wide receiver out of Arizona State in Brandon Ayuk, who had a fantastic rookie year this season. Was really, really good for the San Francisco 49ers game in and game out. A young kid out of Arizona State in Brandon Ayuk to throw the ball to. And the list goes on and on as far as offensive talent. You got Raheem Mostert in the backfield. I mean, there's a lot of talent offensively and defensively for the Niners. They're a well-rounded team. I mean, if they had a full healthy squad this year, they were probably making a run to another NFC championship game, possibly a Super Bowl appearance. I mean that. They're 1 year removed from a Super Bowl. If they don't have injuries, they're at least highly top 3 team seeded in the NFC, without a doubt. Would I put them over Tampa Bay and Green Bay? I don't know. We didn't get to see them play again, but they're in that conversation without a doubt. You add Deshaun Watson instead of Jimmy Garoppolo to that mix, they're going to win a Super Bowl, and he's going to win an MVP, without a doubt in my mind. That's why this is the best place for him to go, without a doubt, would be Deshaun Watson and the San Francisco 49ers. It just makes sense. Now, they're going to need to give something up in order to acquire him. I don't know what they would give up. They don't have the picks to do it. They have the 12th pick. You need more. Do you give up a guy like Mostert? Do you give up? I mean, you're obviously giving up Jimmy Garoppolo. He's obviously going in the trade, and that's a lot in itself. I feel like you got the 12th pick. You got Garoppolo, possibly a second-round pick as well. Maybe one more thing. I mean, Watson is a high talent, and he's better than Garoppolo. I'm just putting it out there. I think it's the best spot for him to go. And be at the bottom of it all of it aside, everything I just said, Houston wins out too. Because Houston gets the best possible quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. He's a better quarterback for Houston than Darnold. He's better than Lawrence as far as you already know what he can do, win here and now. Because I don't think it's the place to develop a quarterback like Tua or Trevor. It's unfortunate, but I think Tua or Trevor, without the experience, go and rot in Houston, especially with how this organization is heading. I'm just being honest with that. This is the best overall scenario. Houston gets him out of the AFC. They don't have to worry about him unless they play in the Super Bowl as far as playoffs go. They get him out of the NFC, out of the AFC into the NFC, which is what they want to do. They acquire Jimmy Garoppolo. They can draft with the 12th pick, possibly a second-round pick or something else. Maybe you get a running back like Raheem Mostert. Who knows as far as how the trade would exactly work out. And the Niners win out absolutely. They're guaranteed a Super Bowl appearance and an MVP with Deshaun Watson at some time throughout that tenure. As long as the defense stays what it is and you keep weapons like young Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle and everything like that. So I've been excited to do that. I've put a lot of research into that. I'm just excited to see how this trade plays out. I love watching Deshaun Watson play. Didn't like him in college because obviously Syracuse and, but he's hard not to root for. And he is one heck of a quarterback. And he is just fun to watch without a doubt in my mind. I'm excited to see what the future holds for Deshaun Watson. And with that being said, there's still a possibility that he stays with the Houston Texans. And here's the only way it happens, in my opinion. The only way it happens is if the Houston Texans hire Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs. And there's a lot of pressure on Houston right now. And I typically try and stay away from this kind of conversation, but I think it's important. And it's all over ESPN and every news sports media outlet out there. Every single head coach to be hired this year has been white. And that's disappointing for the National Football League. After all of this Black Lives Matter movement really coming to the forefront this entire year, they actually have less head coaches and assistant coaches that are of a minority. And that's saying a lot considering what has happened throughout the last year in our country. It's a bad look for the NFL. It really is. Just to go down the list, Robert Saleh, head coach of the New York Jets, and he is of a minority. He is of a religious minority. You have Arthur Smith of the Atlanta Falcons. Urban Meyer is going to the Jags. You have Staley going to the Chargers, and you have Nick Sirianni to the Eagles, and you have Dan Campbell to the Lions. And there's a lot of pressure on Houston to be the first to do it because they could really fix a lot of bad looks going on right now if they hire Eric Bieniemy. And it's disappointing that it comes to that. But Eric Bieniemy is way better of a candidate as a head coach than, I'd say, over half the list. I'd say he's better suited to be a head coach than definitely Sirianni, absolutely Campbell, probably Staley, probably Arthur Smith, and I'd say he's right up there with Robert Saleh and Urban Meyer. I mean, what he's done as the offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs is leaps and bounds. He won a Super Bowl last year. There's nobody. I think he's the best equipped to head coach a football team on this list. And Brian Daboll's in that conversation as well, as far as best equipped. And that's a different story because he wants to stay in Buffalo. He deserves to be a head man. And it's unfortunate that there's a lot of pressure on the Houston Texans to hire him. But Deshaun Watson loves Eric Bieniemy, wants to play for Eric Bieniemy, probably more than any other coach on the list, probably more than Shanahan, and probably more than Robert Saleh. Deshaun Watson wants to play for Eric Bieniemy. He said at the beginning of this, Houston, go hire Eric Bieniemy as our next head coach. I want to play for him, 100%. He's the guy, he's the man for the job. I think if they hire Eric Bieniemy after this season, after the Chiefs make a Super Bowl run possibly, I think Deshaun Watson very well will stay with the Houston Texans. If they don't hire Bieniemy, he's not going to. They need him. They need to hire Eric Bieniemy as their next head coach if they want to keep their franchise quarterback in Deshaun Watson. A couple other honorable mentions for landing spots of Deshaun Watson that I put in here. The Chicago Bears. Just because they're that team they're just this close. They're a quarterback away from being so good. They already made the playoffs last year and this year. They're just a quarterback away from getting over the hump. Great defense led by Khalil Mack, obviously, and just overall a really, really sound defense. They got Roquan Smith as well. They got Allen Robinson as a wide receiver, who he's a free agent after this year, but you can always re-sign. They have a great offensive line. It's a good spot. It's almost like the Niners taken down like 5 levels, right? Just as far as being a complete team, you're not part of a rebuild. You don't really have any missing pieces besides the quarterback, and you could make a run for something. Other than that, on the list, I have the Saints. which I feel with Drew Brees' departure could be possible. I don't know what they would give up. As of right now, they have like the 29th or 28th pick in the NFL draft, 28th to be exact. So you'd have to give up a star player, and it can't be Drew Brees. You can't trade your quarterback. I think they could trade. I think they keep Taysom Hill, and I think they trade your man back there with a million interceptions, Jameis Winston. But he played good. He had that touchdown pass against the Bucs. I think you trade Jameis Winston. Some other stuff has to play out. Possible destination spot is the predecessor of Drew Brees in New Orleans. That's a situation where you can win here and now. And a great head coach, too, by the way. Then I have the Steelers. We don't know what Big Ben's future holds. I think he could retire after this year 100%. I think he might be gone. And they're going to need a quarterback. And they have all the pieces. A pretty darn good defense. We got Watt on the defensive line. You got Minka Fitzpatrick back there. And what a better core of receivers to throw to than the Pittsburgh Steelers? I mean, are you kidding me? Juju Smith-Schuster, who, by the way, contract's going to be up soon. But then you got Chase Claypool, young buck. And the list goes on and on for guys to throw the ball to with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they got a good running back there as well. So those are some of my honorable mentions. We're going to take a quick 30-second break. And when I come back, we are going to break down the matchups this weekend. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, and the Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll see you in just about 30 seconds. You're listening to Sports Talk Live right here on Orange Heat. Welcome back here on Sports Talk Live via Orange Heat. I'm Giovanni Heater, as always. Hope you're enjoying watching on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, or Twitch. Thanks so much for the support, as always. Click the link in the description below if you want to call in and give your picks for this weekend. Obviously, the 2 conference championship games. And go ahead and go to accessoryspot.com and pick up your very own Orange Heat with Giovanni Heater t-shirt. That's XESSORYSPOT.com. Now, big weekend of football coming up, obviously. The conference championships, the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs going at it, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading to Lambeau Field, in a snowy Lambeau Field, to take on the Green Bay Packers. And I think I've said it before, but I think that this is a historic weekend. Not every year you get a story like this. And I said it earlier in the broadcast as well. And I'm just could not be more excited for the matchups. First, we'll take a look at the Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, this is the 3:05 kickoff on Fox, and this is going to be a fantastic matchup. What Aaron Rodgers has been doing this year is nothing short of incredible. But what Tom Brady has done is just the same. And it's not necessarily Brady as a quarterback. It's what he brings to the organization. Bruce Arians is literally letting him coach the team, and they've seen so much success. And I think when it comes down to a game like this, with 2 really, really good offenses who are clicking on all cylinders, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing their best offense this year. They're throwing the ball well, and they're running the ball well. Ronald Jones is doing good, but look at Leonard Fournette throughout the playoffs. Incredible the way he stepped up for that team. It's going to come down to whose defense is better, whose defense can get that one takeaway, whose defense can make that one extra stop. And that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for me. What they have in their linebacking core, with White running the show, what they have in that secondary, what they already did to Aaron Rodgers in week 6, forcing 2 interceptions on him out of the 5 he's thrown this entire year. I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they're going to do it. I think Tom Brady's taking that team to the Super Bowl. I think they'll do enough offensively, and I think the defense will show up. Will it be a close game? Absolutely. But I think Tom Brady will go on the road at Lambeau Field, and he will take that team to an NFC Championship victory and to the Super Bowl. And it's not to discredit Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, but I haven't been high on them yet. I really haven't. And them beating the Rams doesn't impress me. It really doesn't. They were the number one defense, sure. But that offense is... And yes, they scored 30 points, sure. But I'm not sold. I'm not sold on the Green Bay Packers, and I am bought in on Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs are going to the Super Bowl on Sunday afternoon. Let's look at the Bills and the Chiefs. Who's the pressure on? Is the question. In this entire grand scheme of things. The easy argument is that the pressure's on Mahomes to go to the Super Bowl again. And on Tom Brady to prove that he can do it without Bill and go to another Super Bowl. And on Aaron Rodgers, who's only won one. They make this argument. I'd make the argument. I heard Greeny make it today on ESPN. Yes, Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time. But Aaron Rodgers is the best, if that makes sense. Tom Brady has all the accolades, 6 Super Bowls. But does he actually play better than Aaron Rodgers? I don't know. Not this year. Not this year, at least. So who's the pressure really on? Is it on Aaron to prove that he can get there again and stay in Green Bay? Is it on Tom to win a 7th and prove he can do it without Bill? Is it on Mahomes to prove that he can be a legend in the Super Bowl? To prove that he took down Garoppolo. Great. But if you can take down Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers in the Super Bowl, you've cemented yourself as one of the best to do it. That'd be back-to-back Super Bowls. That'd most likely be back-to-back Super Bowl MVPs. And that would be historic. That would cement him as the possible next GOAT behind Tom Brady. And the easy answer to say is that there's no pressure on Josh Allen at all. No matter what happens to the Buffalo Bills, if they lose by 14 points on Sunday, they had a successful season and they surprised everybody. No matter what happens, win or lose, Buffalo's that one team in this picture that can walk away with their head held high. They had a fantastic season. It was historic. Josh Allen's only in year number 3, and it was a success. The season was a success. That's the easy answer. I think the hard answer is that in reality, all of the pressure is on Josh Allen. And I'm not saying there's not pressure on the other guys, but all of the pressure is on Josh Allen. Because if he does beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, and if he were, in the AFC Championship game, and if he were to take down either Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, the conversation now becomes Allen versus Brady, or Allen versus Mahomes for the next 15 years. And if he doesn't, he falls back into the mix of Watson and Garoppolo and Rodgers and some of the really, really, really good quarterbacks right now. And Lamar Jackson. And the list goes on. Baker Mayfield. The really, really good quarterbacks right now, but not the next 15 years league dominating quarterbacks. And all that pressure's on Josh Allen. And for his team to win, he needs to do it all. Kansas City can run the ball still. Tom Brady has a great defense. Aaron Rodgers has already won a Super Bowl and has already proved to be a Hall of Famer and one of the best ever. Yes, there's pressure on those guys. I'm not taking that away. But all of the pressure is on Josh Allen to not only take his team there, take all of Bills Mafia there, which is the best fan base in the NFL, when that's pressure creating. It really is. And to cement yourself for the next 15 years, it's either going to be you and Mahomes or just Mahomes. It's interesting. It's crazy how much weight this one game can pull for either side and how much it can mean for the next 15 years of the NFL. Because there's no guarantee to go back. Saw it with Dan Marino. Went to a Super Bowl in his second year. Never went again. One of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game of football. Never won a Super Bowl. Jim Kelly, same thing. Went to 4 of them. There's no promise you'll be back for that 5th. It's kind of win or die if you're Buffalo. And they're going to have a great team next year. No doubt about it. Diggs is around to stay. They're going to pay Allen a crap ton of money and keep him in town for the next 10 years. No doubt about it. And they should. They should. They got a good defense. Hopefully Leslie Frazier doesn't leave and Brian Daboll should stay. And man, they're going to have one heck of a team again next year to make a run at it. But it's the here and now. You're in the AFC Championship game, and what you have the opportunity to do is nothing short of historic. And I think in reality, all of the pressure is on Josh Allen. And that's the hard argument to make. But I think that's the situation. And I'm supporting the guy. JA17 for the Buffalo Bills. Go Bills Mafia. So, it's pick time. How will that foot be a factor for Mahomes? I think if the Bills hit it, it might be. Other than that, though, I mean, I saw a couple clips. He seems to be running around pretty darn good in practice and stuff. No matter what, this is a very, very, very difficult team for the Bills to go up against. Travis Kelce, he's uncoverable. Buffalo also doesn't have a guy that can run with Tyreek Hill. They got a decent defense, pretty good defense. Chris Jones can create a lot of pressure on the D-line. And Tyrann Mathieu, one of the best guys in the secondary in the National Football League. And Mahomes is a wizard with the football. All of it stacked against Buffalo. You watch anything today, everyone's pick is the Kansas City Chiefs. That's who everyone picked to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year. Buffalo's winning this game. Buffalo's pulling off the upset. Buffalo has been doubted every single game this playoffs. Everybody thought they were going to lose last year to the Ravens because they couldn't stop them defensively. But what Leslie Frazier was able to draw up was nothing short of remarkable. I think they'll draw up enough and have the perfect game plan to hold Kansas City under 30 points. And if you can hold them under 30 points, I think you can win the football game. And I think Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott, these brilliant defensive minds, can make it happen and hold them under 30 points and win the football game. But then all the pressure lies on Josh Allen and this offense. Josh Allen has to cook. Josh Allen has to not make a single mistake. He can't throw an interception, and he can't fumble the football. And he's done it. He's done a good job of taking care of it compared to the last couple of years, but those are mistakes that you make in an AFC Championship game when you've never been there and you're a third-year quarterback. All the rest of the guys in this conversation have been there before. It's crazy to think Mahomes has, but he's already won a Super Bowl. And he came back in every single game in the playoffs last year. Literally was down every single game, including 24 to the Texans. So if you're Buffalo, you just have to keep your foot on the gas. I think they can score on the Chiefs, but they have to run the football. Brian Daboll, please try and find a way to run the football. Losing Zach Moss is huge for Buffalo. They pick up Devonta Freeman. They have TJ Yeldon. They have Antonio Williams. Hey, I want him to go pick up Mark Ingram, who just got waived from the Baltimore Ravens. But it's going to come on the shoulders of Devin Singletary. And if he can carry the load and just run the football enough, run for a total of 50 yards on the game as a team, you just need to make it as though it's a threat and it opens things up even more in the pass game. But in order to win, I think Buffalo has to find a way to run the football. The good thing about that, the great thing about that, is it's not that Buffalo was stopped from the run against the Colts and against the Baltimore Ravens. And they actually ran the ball a decent... They're a predominant pass team, don't get me wrong. But they ran the ball a good enough amount throughout the season. They chose against the Colts and the Ravens to not run the football with a running back. And it was more the Ravens than the Colts because they ran the ball with the Colts. Colts have a great defense. Josh Allen was the one running the ball against the Colts, which was interesting because you hadn't seen that all year. Against the Ravens, they just didn't have to. It wasn't in the game plan. They didn't want to. It's not that they couldn't. They didn't even try. They saw success throughout the air, especially in the second half. And it wasn't a great offensive performance. It was a defensive game, no matter what way you spin it. But Buffalo didn't need to run the football. They didn't even try to. It's not like they tried and got stuffed a couple of times and a couple of drives stalled out and they gave up on it. They literally didn't run the football. They just threw the football all day in that game. So if they want to game plan for it, they can run the football. Freeman still got, these guys have fresh legs too. Freeman's got fresh legs. Antonio Williams got fresh legs. Singletary's got to do it though. Singletary has to be the guy for the Buffalo Bills. And Josh Allen's got to do it. And the defense has to step up. And Diggs has to get open. And everyone's saying, can Kansas City contain Diggs? No. I don't think anybody can contain Diggs. His route running is top notch. It's not like he's a guy who's just going down the field and can get locked up and a deep ball threat. No, he's actually a short ball threat more than a deep ball threat. And his route running is unprecedented by anybody in the National Football League. I 100% feel that way. Nobody runs a route better than Stephon Diggs, except maybe Tyreek Hill. Maybe Tyreek Hill. It's going to be one heck of a showdown at Arrowhead Stadium. I just can't wait. Bills Mafia fans are showing up for it. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a great weekend of football. So my picks. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking down the Green Bay Packers by a final score of 21. Let me change that. I wrote it down on the paper. I'm going to go 27-24 because Green Bay is going to score. You just have to, again, like Kansas City, hold them under 30. And I think Tom can do enough. I think the defense can get at least that one big takeaway. Tampa Bay wins 27-24 in Lambeau. Buffalo beats Kansas City. Everyone's saying it's going to be a shootout. I think if you're Buffalo, it kind of has to be because Kansas City can score, but I think Buffalo's defense steps up big too. You saw them do it against Baltimore last week. I have the Buffalo Bills taking down the Kansas City Chiefs. Final score, 31-28. Buffalo kicks a field goal and they win. And again, it's who gets over 30. Can Buffalo hold them to under 30 points? Just enough to win the game. Tyler Bass is the hero. That's my picks. Well, that wraps things up here on Orange Heat. Sports Talk Live. Thanks so much for joining here today. Appreciate you tuning in. As always, go ahead and head over to accessoryspot.com. That's XESSORY.com and pick up your very own Orange Heat with Giovanni Heater t-shirt. We'll be back right here tomorrow for the Syracuse basketball game. Syracuse and Virginia Tech going at it inside the Dome. Virginia Tech ranked number 16 in the country. And after that, it is going to be Sports Talk Live on Monday. So enjoy the football this weekend. You'll see Marshak and I tomorrow for calling the Syracuse basketball game. And we'll see you after that. So thanks so much for tuning in right here on Orange Sheet, and we'll see you next time. This has been a production of Orange Sheet. This is Sports Talk Live with Giovanni Heater. Go Bills!